Welcome to the Bourbon Barkeep Lounge. My name is Curtis. I am the gatekeeper to the lounge, if you will. So thank you for joining. Always welcome. And if you're new here, this is House Call Wednesday. I guess even if you're not new here, it's still House Call Wednesday. House Call Wednesday, we have the house just kind of tells us what we're going to pour. Typically, it's a very vicious battle. We've had one tie. Can't happen again, but it did. I'm still bitter about it. I got two samples next to me here. Got them in the beautiful Bourbon Barkeep Glencairns. I can never figure out. There it is. Focus. There. So I got a glass A and a glass B. I taste them. I score them. And I would say we would have a winner, but that's not been 100% true. But we will this time. We better. Because if we start tying every week, we're gonna have issues. That's about it. Just issues. So, diving into glass A. Like, subscribe as this attempts to open up. Let's see what we got on those here. Loads of cherry. Maybe even like the pink runts. I feel like I go nerds every time, but the runts need some love as well. Some caramel, maybe some honey. Slight oak starting to kind of come through. Definitely is starting to open up a bit more, but the strawberry runts / nerds, that's going to remain here. Let's see what we have on the sip. It's nice. It's very smooth. If I went to a bar and knew absolutely nothing about bourbon especially, I would say, give me what tastes like bourbon, and they would hand me this glass. This is slight oak, maybe some light brown sugar, and a very smooth, easy finish that is fine on the tongue. No real hug, but ultimately it's something that I can sit here and just sip and not think about and be quite pleased. Let's see what second sip has. Second sip, it's pretty much nose to palate to finish, really pretty consistent with those 3 or 4 flavors, which you could say is boring. Sometimes there's a place for this. It's really good. It's really smooth. There's some cinnamon spice at the end of it that's nice, that lets you know that there's a little bit of proof here. I wouldn't guess this is over 100. Let's see, what else do we have to kind of hit on? It's nice. Leaves my mouth watering. It's just a high quality, good pour. Just there's not a lot of complexity to it. So I would lean towards this is probably more on the budget row, but in a very good way. So we'll see. We do have a second glass in the battle today. Glass B, that's about all I can tell you outside of what number it's labeled as, if you care. It's 38 and it's green, because we've talked about how horrible the purple is. So I could actually read this one, so that's nice. So we got glass B here. Let's see what we got on the nose. Guess I should give it a few more swirls. Ooh, wow. Much richer. This one's like a deep, dark cherry. Maybe like the Luxardo juice was even dripped in here. Kind of tempted to say some marshmallow. Extremely sweet on the nose. I don't know what brought these two together, because one seems to be lower proofed, potentially budget. This one definitely seems to have a layer of complexity to it. Maybe like some raisins dipped in maple syrup. Really nice. Extremely sweet. Let's see if the palate agrees. Some sweet oak punch right off the bat. It does kind of develop into like a milk chocolate. Some graham cracker. Tough not to kind of go to the s'mores, but nice sweetness. Once again, finish isn't terribly long in terms of the hug, but it does hang on the tongue for a bit. Let's see what second sip has. So when it comes to this opening up, nice graham cracker and the marshmallow still kind of continue on the nose through the palate. The graham cracker's there, definitely some chocolate. There's enough sweetness with that vanilla. You could definitely talk me into just s'mores on nose to palate. Finish is very smooth. No real hug, but once again, do you need to be absolutely have your socks blown off every single pour? No. It kind of seems finished. Let's see if you can, does that come out? Not really. Why is it always so blurry? You can't see. Damn it. This one, Glass B, is a little darker. It does kind of have like a French oak kind of feel to it, with the vanilla kind of coming through, as intense as what it actually is. You know, we've done the Lucky 7 French oaked. Nothing says it can't pop up again, but I don't think this has the proof of that Lucky 7. It's a great nose, a really solid pour. I'm just gonna go back to back real quick, kind of see if anything else changes, if anything else comes out. We'll score them, go through bang for the buck, jump through those hoops, and see what happens. So stay tuned. Ready to score? Ready? Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's the natural progression of where we're at this point with the episode. It's not easy, but someone's got to do it. So here we are. Glass A, it's just wheelhouse bourbon. I mean, you have the nice cherry, caramel, a little bit of oak, very smooth, not a lot of alcohol in the nose, finish is smooth, doesn't hang around, not overly complex. So bang for the buck could really separate these two in particular. But in terms of the senses alone, I'm just gonna go, I gotta go low end good stuff. So I'm gonna stick with a 71. Do I wanna give it a little more credit? Yes, because I actually do really enjoy it. But the lack of complexity, I could see how it could get boring unless you were just hanging with the boys, just sipping, talking, and not breaking down whiskey. But if you're breaking down whiskey, this one would get a little boring. This would be a superb old-fashioned type of spirit forward, or yeah, I guess just any cocktail really. Well, whiskey cocktail, not like a whiskey tonic. But yeah, it's straightforward. You know what it is immediately off the bat, and there's nothing wrong with that. 71. Now, glass 2, touch more complexity. I can't sit there and grade it based off of is it a finished whiskey or not, because I don't know that. It does remind me of the French oak though. It is ridiculously sweet. So if you don't like a sweet whiskey, I would urge you to go glass A. Has that still bourbon sweetness, but This is ramped up to an 11. It's definitely s'mores in a glass. Chocolate comes through more and more as it starts to open up. It is a really nice pour. So to actually score glass B now, the more that chocolate comes through, the more I actually really like it. I'm gonna go 75. Just right in the middle of the good stuff. Once again, it's still not overly complex. It took a bit to open up, but there's just a little bit more happening here. Similar, but just sweetness to an 11. Now, the hard part, the part that keeps me awake at night before I score and even after I score, bang for the buck. So on this channel, we like to take pricing consideration. Yes, the palate, the senses all matter. So you want the $200 bottle to taste like a $200 bottle. That being said, tough times. We've mentioned that a handful of times at this point, myself included. We're all just trying to make it right now. So, depending on the prices of these bottles will dictate the winner of said battle. But right now, if you're going purely based off of senses and for the subscriber that doesn't give an F about money, you would like Glass B apparently. But let's see who is actually in said matchup. If you're keeping track at home, it's Battle 8. This was an early on one. This was one that the Bourbon Barkeep had in their mind, and they said, this needs to happen. And then we were like, well, we're gonna randomize it, so what the hell does 8 matter? And here we are. Battle 8, we got sample 35, which is $27. Yeah, I mean, the lack of complexity didn't appear to be high aged. Still don't know. But I mean, 27, that's a pretty good price, especially for something that's smooth. Let's see, 38, $50. So almost double the price. A lot more sweetness, some complexity. Is it double? That's tough. They both have a place is the problem. One has that you can have it straight, you could have it in a cocktail, and you would be pretty happy with that. Sometimes if you make your old fashioned sweeter, am I pouring glass B and making it that much sweeter? That's tough. Guess we'll see. All right, so $50, I don't know. Glass A, gosh, I freaking hate bang for the buck. I don't even know why we do it. Just, well, it's for you. That's why we do it. So you're welcome. Like, subscribe, one more again. Bang for the buck, not knowing age for how smooth, I would say 72. I mean, $27, that's hard to come by in this state of the whiskey world at this point, to where it seems like everything is up 10, 25. If you're wild turkey, $250 more than what it was a year, 2 years ago at this point. So I feel like that has to almost overcompensate at $27, 72. Ooh, just flip them. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do from now on, just flip them. Glass B, on the other hand, more complexity. You would expect it to be more. Once again, I don't know if it's aged. I don't know if it's finished. 61. That does entail, is that the word? Allude, that's what it is. Allude to, I would pay more than the, what did we say, $50? Slightly. I mean, there's a lot in that $50 range, but if you told me it was 60 and I really needed something with sweetness at 11, then yeah, maybe. It does actually kind of remind me of James E. Pepper, the decanter, now that I kind of think about it. Maybe, we shall see. But I remember that sweetness being absurd as well. So 61. Obviously less bang for the buck, but in terms of the algorithm, Glass A takes it. Unshockingly, I guess. I mean, the senses were pretty close. That bang for the buck broke it apart to where I think this was a difficult one to score before knowing what these actually were because they were very different pours. So I'm curious what they actually were. So now time for that reveal. Battle 8, 35, verse 38. Okay. That makes sense on why they were put together, at least, because they're the exact same pour. Elijah Craig small batch and the Elijah Craig toasted barrel, which is said Elijah Craig small batch dumped into a toasted barrel. That toasted barrel adds so much sweetness. That's crazy. I mean, there wasn't a ton more oak, because I think is that considered a double oak? I mean, you're putting it oak into oak, but I know they don't mark it as a double oaked like your Woodford or Old Forester. That was interesting. It makes more sense on why they were put together to where you just have the Elijah Craig and now you have a toasted. So what comes out of it, you get away from this caramel, vanilla, what else did we say? Maybe slight cinnamon to this s'mores in a glass. Candied raisins, I believe was said as well. Maybe a chocolate covered raisin, just keep with the chocolate. But there's no chocolate on that small batch, and there is loads of chocolate the more it sits out or warms up or both. That's interesting. I've heard people kind of step on the toasted barrel. That's not bad. I don't think I would change my bang for the buck even knowing it's finished, mainly because I don't think I'm going to go that much more above 60, even though I respect the process of not just finishing on a barrel and dumping it, but also doing something else to it. So I think I would stay put, but that toasted barrel, better than I thought, and a very interesting side-by-side of, like I said, you'll see people do the Woodford double oaked against toasted barrel or Old Forester, and those are highly useful reviews. I think if you're trying to learn whiskey, learn what a toasted barrel actually tastes like or what a double oaked tastes like. This is a really good experiment and one that is pretty cheap. I don't know what the availability is on the toasted barrels nowadays, but if you see it at 50, 60, it's a buy. It's nice to have. Am I paying 80, 100? I don't know what type of the markup is at this one, but I'm not going there. No, thank you. I would just give me the traditional Elijah Craig and we'll figure it out. Maybe I'll just dip chocolate in it. So to wrap up, this was more of a teaching lounge rather than a fight to the death. It's nice. That's what we need nowadays. Not the teaching. I mean, that could get boring, but just a good old-fashioned A and B, and everybody's just like, huh, that's what that means. Way to go, Bourbon Barkeep Lounge. I'm happy this one popped up early on. Once again, if you enjoyed what you saw or could put up with it, I'm happy with that bar. Going ahead, click the like, subscribe. Pre-doing the YouTube channel, I didn't fully understand why that mattered. It definitely does. We definitely have seen an uptick on you all populating, if you will, showing up time and time again for the reviews that Noah and myself are putting out. So that's a way to kind of keep you included if you're not ready to fully commit to the subscribe button, and I respect that. I'm happy to earn that subscription, if you will. Outside of that, I think it's just wrap-up time. So thank you all again. We'll see what another House Call Wednesday has for us next week. Have a good one.